Hello everyone. I have been posting Pine script content on YouTube for the past 2 years. Many people contact me and ask if I have a trading strategy that works well and that they could try and work with. I did not have any such strategy until now, so decided to create one. So here I present you the G.O.A.T strategy. This strategy includes various general purpose indicators, which you can customize and modify as you need. I have tried to make this product as modularized and customizable as possible. In this strategy, we can have various indicators, various entry techniques and various stop-loss mechanisms, trailing stop-loss system, compounding feature, etc. So without wasting much time, let's see the actual product. I have added the G.O.A.T strategy to the chart. In this code, I have used various indicators like RSI, MACD, exponential moving average, super trend, volume, Bollinger Bands, VWAP, etc. Let's dive into the input panel of this strategy. First of all, you will get to choose the RSI settings. Here you can select the RSI length. Also, you can select the overbought and oversold regions of the RSI. So when a long entry appears, that entry will not happen if the RSI is in the overbought region. Similarly, a short entry will not appear in an oversold region. Here you can set the exponential moving average's length. The default value is set to 200. Here you can set the MACD inputs, like their fast length, slow length, and signal smoothing. Here you can set the Bollinger Bands settings. Here you can adjust the super trends parameters. Okay. Now that we have seen how and where we can modify or adjust the basic indicator inputs, let's see the strategy design. At the top of the settings panel, you will see these inputs. I have especially given separate options to show only long and short trades if a user wants that. I will select the Show Only Long Trades option. And now you can see that only long trades are visible on the chart. Now I will select the Show Only Short Trades option. And now you can see that only short trades are visible on the chart. If I keep both the options on like this, then we can see both long and short trades on the chart. Then there is this very useful option to make this strategy intraday only. This means that, if you are working on an intraday timeframe like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, etc., and if a trade is going on and the market is about to close, then this option will close that trade on the very last candle of the day. If this option is off, then the trade may continue or get carried forward to the next day. Okay. Then there is this Remove Exit Labels and Replace with Just Exit Word option. We will see this one later. Let's move on to more important things. Here you can set the initial capital value. The default value is set to 1 million. Also, you can set the percentage of capital to be used for each trade. By default, we are going to use only 10% of the available capital amount. If you want, you may change this value. All right. Now let's see how this strategy initiates the entry points. Under the entry criteria, you can see the first entry option as RSI. If you want to use the RSI for the entry, you can select this checkbox, as shown here. Also, if you want, you can select a higher time frame RSI from here. Then we have these two important RSI inputs. Here we will take a long entry only when the RSI is above 60. And we'll take a short entry only when the RSI is below the 40 value. If you want, you can change these values according to your needs. Near every such input, I have given a tooltip circle like this. Just hover the mouse over this icon. And you will see the details about that option, like this. Then we have an entry criterion for the EMA. Let's see what the tooltip of this option has to say. It says that, for long entry, the price should be above the EMA. And for a short entry, the price should be below the EMA. Also, you can choose a higher time frame EMA from here. Alright. Then we have MACD entry criteria inputs. This input says that, for long entry, the MACD line should be above the signal line. And for a short entry, the MACD line should be below the signal line. If you want to use this option as an entry criterion, then you will have to select this checkbox. OK. Then we have another MACD criteria, which says that for long entry, the MACD line should be above the zero line. And for a short entry, the MACD line should be below the zero line. From here you can choose the higher time frame MACD. Let's see the next one. Here we have the VWAP input. It says that for long entry, the price should be above the VWAP. And for a short entry, the price should be below the VWAP. Let's see the Bollinger Band entry criteria now. It says that, for long entry, the price should be above the upper band of the Bollinger. And for a short entry, the price should be below the lower band of the Bollinger. Then we have the Super Trend entry input. It says that, for long entry, the price should be above the Super Trend. And for a short entry, the price should be below the Super Trend. And finally, we have the volume option. It says that, if this option is selected, then, the current candle's volume should be higher than the previous candle. Then only an entry will be generated on the chart. Okay. Until now, we have just covered the entry criteria that this strategy offers. Beware that, if multiple entry criteria are selected here, then all those conditions must have been satisfied on the chart, for an entry to be generated. For example, if I have selected the VWAP and Super Trend options here, then, for a long entry the price should be above the VWAP line and the Super Trend, both. Similarly, for a short trade, the price should be below the VWAP line and the Super Trend both. So you can toggle through all these entry options and see what works best for you. Alright. Now let's see the exit, or the stop-loss criterias. The first option is of course the RSI 1. If this option is selected, a long entry will hit a stop-loss when the RSI is below the 55 level. And a short entry will hit the stop-loss when the RSI is above the 45 level. All this is written in this tooltip also. But there is a warning, and an important one. Always remember that, if you choose some exit or stop-loss criteria from the following list of indicators, then make sure that the same option or the same indicator is also used for entry criteria also. For example, if we are going to use the RSI as a stop-loss indicator, then, we must use the RSI in the entry criteria also. Otherwise, what will happen is, we use the RSI only for the stop-loss, and there could be a possibility that while taking a long entry, the RSI could be below the 55 level at the entry point itself. And here we have kept the RSI stop-loss below the 55 level. So our long entry would get immediately hit by this stop-loss. And this way, we may get a series of bad entry-exit pairs. So always remember to use the stop-losses carefully. Okay, let's see further. Here we have the exponential moving average option as a stop-loss. It says that a long entry would hit a stop-loss if the price is below the EMA, and a short entry would hit a stop-loss if the price is above the EMA. Again, look at the warning message. If you are going to use this EMA option as a stop-loss, then make sure that you also use the EMA option in the entry criteria also. Okay, next. This MACD stop-loss criterion says that, for a long entry, the stop-loss will hit if the MACD line is below the signal line. And for the short entry, the stop-loss will hit if the MACD line is above the signal line. The second MACD stop loss option says that, for a long entry, the stop loss will hit if the MACD line is below the zero line. And for the short entry, the stop loss will hit if the MACD line is above the zero line. Let's see further. The woh.it option says that, for a long entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is below the woh.it line. For a short entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is above the woh.it line. Now, the Bollinger Band option says that, for a long entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is below the lower band of the Bollinger. For a short entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is above the upper band of the Bollinger. Then, the Super Trend option says that, for a long entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is below the Super Trend. For a short entry, the stop loss will hit if the price is above the Super Trend. Okay, now an important point to be noted is that, if more than one of these stop loss options is selected, then only one of the selected options needs to be hit for the stop loss to be triggered. For example, if I choose EMA and Super Trend as the stop loss options, then a long entry would hit a stop loss if the price is below the EMA, or if the price is below the Super Trend. Both the criteria need not be satisfied at the same time. So basically, if you choose multiple entry criteria for an entry, then all those criteria must be satisfied at the same time for an entry to be generated on the chart. But if you choose multiple stop loss criteria, then only one of them needs to be hit for the stop loss to be triggered. This is an important difference between the entry and exit mechanisms of this strategy. Okay. Until now, we have seen indicator-based entries and stop losses. Now let's see some other kinds of stop losses. Here we have a stop loss option that says that, for a long entry, a stop loss would hit if the price goes below the low value of the entry candle. And for a short entry, a stop loss would be hit if the price goes above the high value of the entry candle. Then we have a point-based stop loss. For long entry, a stop loss would hit if the price goes 50 points below the entry level. And for a short entry, a stop loss would hit if the price goes 50 points above the entry level. Okay. Similarly, we have a percentage-based stop loss. For long entry, a stop loss would hit if the price goes 0.5% below the entry level. And for a short entry, a stop loss would hit if the price goes 0.5% above the entry level. Okay, so we have covered the stop loss until now. Now, let's see the trailing stop loss mechanisms of this strategy. If you want to use the trailing stop loss, you will have to select this checkbox. So this is how it works. For long entry, if the price moves 30 points above the entry level, the stop loss will move up by 10 points. But, which stop loss will move up by 10 points? The point-based stop loss. Even if this checkbox is not selected, this value will be used by the trailing stop loss mechanisms as the base or initial stop loss value. So as said earlier, for a long entry, if the price moves 30 points above the entry level, then this stop loss would move up by 10 points. If the price moves another 30 points above the entry level, that means total of 60 points, then this stop loss will move up by another 10 points, which means total of 20 points. And these 30 and 10 points values can be changed from here, as the user wants. Similarly, for the short entry, as the price moves 30 points below the entry level, the stop loss will move down by 10 points. So that's an important feature of our strategy, called trailing stop loss. Okay, we have come a long way. Let's see the next thing. Here we have the target criteria of our strategy. The first one is the point-based criteria. It says that, for long entry, a target would be achieved and trade would be closed if the price goes 50 points above the entry level. And for a short entry, a target would be achieved and trade would be closed if the price goes 50 points below the entry level. Similarly, we have the percentage-based target criteria. It says that, for long entry, a target would be achieved and trade would be closed if the price goes 5% above the entry level. And for a short entry, a target would be achieved and trade would be closed if the price goes 5% below the entry level. Okay. Then we have a special risk-reward based target criteria. This is how it works. If the reward factor is set to 2 here, then the target value for a long trade would be 50 multiplied by 2, which is 100 points. But where does this 50 value come from? Again, it comes from this point-based stop-loss criteria. This option need not be selected, but this value will be used by the risk-reward target mechanisms anyway. Similarly, for a short entry, the target would be the same. All right. So we have seen what kinds of indicators this strategy uses, what kinds of entry criteria it provides, and what kinds of stop losses it has. Then we saw the trailing stop loss mechanisms and the target criteria. Now, let's select all these options and let's observe some trades on the chart. As you can see, both long and short trades are available on the chart, as we had kept both of them on. Here you can see a long entry, and immediately its stop loss is hit. The name of the stop loss is mentioned here so that the user can understand how and why a trade has closed. So here we can see that, since the price has touched the low value of the entry candle, the trade got closed. Here we get another long trade. And the price went up, and our target of 50 points is achieved here. Here we get another long trade, followed by a stop loss which is triggered because the RSI went below the 55 level. Okay. Here, we have a short trade. The trade got hit by an RSI stop loss, as the RSI went above the 45 level. Here we have another short entry. That got hit by a trailing stop loss. Okay. Then we have another short entry, which got its target of 50 points. All right. So at every stop loss candle, you can see such messages, which tell the reason behind that stop loss. If you want to remove these messages, then you have the option of removing the exit labels and replacing them with just the exit word. Let's select it. As you can see, now all the stop loss messages have been hidden and replaced by just the exit word. Also, an important point about these numbers, that you can see written above and below the entry and exit candles. What are these numbers? Remember that our initial capital is 1 million, and we use only 10% of that capital for a single trade. So that would be 100,000 for each trade. Now, at the entry level, the Bitcoin was going at a price of 22,445.13. So if you divide 100,000 by 22,445.13, then you will roughly get 4 as the result. This 4 is the number of units you can buy here. That is why in this trade we could buy 4 Bitcoins with the amount of 100,000. That is why the value 4 is written on the entry and exit candles. For different stocks and with different capital amounts, this value may vary accordingly. If you have made it through the end of this video, congratulations and thank you for your patience. If you or anyone you know wants to have a demo of this strategy, please contact me. The contact details are written in the description. The amount of time and work required to develop such a strategy, and even to create this video, has been tremendous. I hope the strategy fulfills all the needs of a trader and stands up to its name, the G.O.A.T strategy. Thank you.